cars come, and the Obios waits in its stables for dawn. Come, rise us early and deck yourself gay as I take you to Padstow today. So put your arms round.
I'm Tom Rousell. It's May morning. I'm here in Cornwall. This town's called Padstow, and today they are participating in an ancient rite celebrating the coming of summer on the 1st of May. They've been up since, some of them have been doing this since midnight last night, preparing the town, putting up decorations, bringing in all the greens from the forest to liven up the town for this May celebration. There's fairs, there's the pasties, there's people drinking beer, and most importantly, there's two obioses. The obios is an English tradition, the hobby horse, related to the German Schimmel, which is a similar thing. It goes right back to the old Indo-European horse cults. And this symbolic horse has to be woken up with song. These horses are escorted through the town by dancers and singers, and it goes to sleep and is symbolically woken up with the song and dances in a frantic and aggressive way.
Yeah.
19th century accounts of the exact same rite here in Cornwall reveal that it was a lot more violent in those days, and outsiders like me weren't allowed to participate. Even showing your face here if you weren't from Padstow could mean you'd get a kicking. But nowadays it's more touristy, and a lot of people have come from outside. In fact, there are tens of thousands of people here today. So are you all native Padstow people?
Yeah.
We are all born and bred. Born and bred.
And I hear in the old days,
Sorry,
Padstow
girls.
people
Sorry.
weren't really friendly to outsiders coming in.
No,
but now
they're still not.
They are now.
Come on.
They're still
We are more lenient.
If
More
you're-
in Harbour.
If you're wearing whites and you're not Pastonian,
You do get
you
frowned
will get
upon.
beat
We
up.
don't-
Yeah.
we get beat up.
It's not violent.
We're lovers, not fighters in Padstow, I tell you.
It is.
not fighting.
They get
Oh
quite
my God.
sensitive about the tradition.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mind yourself!
The two hobby horses, or Old Oss and the Blue Ribbon Oss, they have their own routes that is paraded through the town.
So the Reds are the original Padstonians, the Old Oss. I'll turn around and show you.
Ah, lovely, lovely. That's really nice.
And the Blue Oss is the Peace Oss for those that have moved into Padstow and wanted their own Oss and want to join the celebrations.
So I was born and bred in Padstow, 1967, and I was raised about 4 buildings up from the Golden Lion, which is the home of the Old Oss.
Why don't you follow the Old Oss? Why do you follow the Blue Ribbon one?
Because my family were, as they say, incomers. My dad was in the RAF, but I was born in Padstow, and you were expected to be blue or red. But I married into a very old Padstow family, so my sons follow the Old Oss, the Red Oss.
Ah.
Yeah, I carry the Blue Oss, the Peace Oss as we call it. So
the Peace
it's very
Oss-
tribal. It's very tribal.
So-
You have to go back through the families. So you have this like Old Oss and Peace Oss, but the Peace Oss is 100 odd years this year. So
Getting old as well.
yeah, but we always be sailor. I'm a sailor, and you see a lot of the guys wear the sailors' tops. It's from the First World War. Padstow sent a lot of men to war, as everywhere did, and they were sailors. Come from a maritime town, so that's why it's called the Blue Ribbon Oss, but locals call it the Peace Oss because it was 1914.
The Old Oss, which is escorted by people wearing red ribbons, begins its parade from the Golden Lion Inn, just over there.
The Red Os very much stick to tradition. Two examples. Os. The Red Os will never go inside the church.
Ah, interesting.
The Blue Os used to go in the church.
So the Blue Os is more Christian.
Going back, folklore tells that the church were not that pleased with what they thought was a pagan type tradition, and offered folk of Padstow almost like a bribe to stop it. No more May Day if they would accept money for food parcels and all that, and they turned them down. So therefore they fell out with the church and will never go in there again. So that's like a tradition.
Remembering the vendetta against the church. In days gone by, the underside of the obios was lined with soot, and when it passed women, they would they'd try and touch the os or try and avoid being touched, and sometimes the os would charge at them, and when they get blackened by the soot, this was a sign that they had been marked by the fertility-giving qualities of the os. As Padstow natives, you're very proud of this tradition.
Yeah, definitely.
We are more than proud.
And we enjoy it. It's a good day to get
it's a
out.
good piss
It's
up
an
as well.
excuse.
It's really good.
Yeah.
One of our favourite
To
days of the
enjoy
year.
Pads.
We like getting whacked by the os.
If you get whacked by the os, is it good luck for women?
Yeah,
You get pregnant if you go under like her.
Yeah.
Then you get a little bump going on over here.
under last year.
That's
So
why
this
she's
is
pregnant.
the hots did this.
And if you grab the horsehair, it's good luck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, grab the horsehair from the os.
Wrap
and
it
it's
round
good
your
luck.
wrist, keep it for a year. It's good luck.
Oh, around the wrist, is it?
Yeah.
For a
Ah.
year, you have to.
There is no unbroken line of tradition of this going back to pagan times, because during the Reformation, a lot of May celebrations were cancelled. Like the Protestants didn't like May celebrations, and many of them were stopped. However, with the Restoration, the King brought back May celebrations. May Day was reinstated after a break. Also, during World War I, a lot of men were absent, so in many parts around England, there were no May celebrations during World War I. But for the most part, it's been continuous. And although we can't trace them all the way back to pagan times in Britain, we can only trace them back to the pre-modern era, to medieval times, the traditions of mumming and May Day celebrations. Because, as I've said in previous films, my May Day pagan goddess video, because we can see the exact same customs of early spring celebrations around Europe in different Indo-European speaking countries, very similar, therefore we can assume that these customs all come from a common root, and that is from the pre-Christian times. What's the difference in the atmosphere from a normal day of the year in Padstow to May Day?
A lot. Like I said, Padstow is Padstow. Tourist, like I said, the house I grew up in is now a Michelin-star restaurant. It's the house I was born in. That's where we are. But for these couple of days, this week, it reverts back to the town it was.
It goes back in time.
It goes back and everything's moved to the side. Don't get me wrong, people have jobs, they have livings, that's what you got to do. But for a couple of days it shuts off and Padstow goes back. I mean, I was a fisherman at age 11. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I was a fisherman. I was born in Padstow, I was fishing at 11 years old.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you could say that. 2000, whatever it is, 19.
Yeah.
But yeah. But Padstow's still Padstow. You can hear it.
Everyone gets together. It's a tradition.
I think May Day probably means more than Christmas and birthdays put together.
Wow.
It is that one time of the year where everybody from the red ribbon, old Os, to the peace Os, blue ribbon, get together and we have a good fun and we all connect over one thing, really, to be honest, and I think it's amazing.
All the locals out dancing, singing
And it's just
along.
a great
Very
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Everybody talks to everyone. Even if you don't know someone very well, you'll still say hello because it's just
what you're doing,
yeah,
innit?
exactly.
It's May Day.
It's the best
A
day.
very-
It's our
everyone
favourite time
comes
of the
together.
year. Fuck Christmas.
There's nothing quite like May Day. Reuniting families and just friendship, really. Just total friendship. It's wonderful.
If you don't keep traditions going, things die. If things die, the town dies. If the town dies, it's going to belong to holiday makers.
In the modern age, you lose where you come from. Everything. Whereas everybody now says, my dad did this, my granddad did. You want to belong. And this is what Padstow's about. It's about belonging.
Yeah.
We belong. We come from all over the world back to the place you're born.
And I'd love to carry it on, and I'd love to keep it going forever, really.
I reckon this will be going past my lifetime, past my kids' lifetime, and past my kids' lifetime.
But you're all going to teach it to your kids and preserve this tradition?
Yeah, definitely.
The
got one
tradition's
cooking
gonna
right now.
carry on.
Yeah.
This video from now, give it the next till I'm 27, I'll have twin girls.
Even in this modern age, you can still do this stuff.
That's fantastic.
Like we know. And we'll breakfast on ale and an old chorus song while musicians will play accordions and drums, and we'll greet the old us as we welcome the May as I take you to Padstow today. So put your arms around me, I'll dance you away, for you are my queen of the May. Yes, put your arms around me, I'll dance you away, for you are my queen of the May.
High up on this hill here, looking out across the glorious Devon countryside, is the old fortified town of Torrington. This was important during the English Civil War as a stronghold for the Cavaliers, and it's a town that has preserved its May Day celebrations, which date back to the 13th century.
The right worshipful, the mayor of this town, doth give you all notice that there is a free fair to be kept this day in the town of Great Torrington.
Unlike Padstow, there's no hobby horse. Instead, the day focuses on country dances and on the Maypoles, but also, very importantly, on alcohol. People start drinking first thing in the morning and they carry on all day. And instead of just one day of celebration, there's actually 4 days of celebrating in Torrington. It begins on the first Thursday after May Day and continues from Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And people are very tired by the end of it. How many years have you been attending Mayfair here?
Well, I've just reckoned 49 years.
Well, ever since we were big enough to be put in a pram and pushed to the Mayfair, because I'm 68 now, and we've always been here. It's the main thing is that you've got to, when you're at junior school, you would attend and dance at the Maypole, then you get a free ticket to go to the fair for a couple of rides. So that was the main incentive, really. So, but then you had two schools,
and you danced with the maids.
Oh yeah.
That was the main thing.
Never changed. But there used to be two schools, which was the board school, Holson Road, and the Blue Coat School, which was up on Castle Hill. And you'd alternate for the May Queen. The May Queen would always be at the top of the square, and the other school would be at the bottom of the square. The mayor and the band and everyone would be at the bandstand, the higher side of the town hall. So it was easy for the heralds to present the May Queen to the dignitary. One year I was chosen to be a herald, but because we used to go in the carnival and have a few frothy ones, I didn't want to be a herald. I wanted to be in the carnival.
How did they used to select the May Queen, on what criteria?
The pupils would choose.
Yeah, children would vote.
Right.
Yeah, children would
The
vote.
prettiest girl or the most popular girl?
Well,
I certainly wasn't the prettiest girl, was you?
No. No, it usually was the most prettiest girl. Yeah, but everybody had a vote.
But the heralds would have to be chosen on height differential. Because you didn't want a great honey monster and a midget.
Like I was.
Yeah. You weren't a midget.
My gran, she was the mayor this year, and they tried to pair me and my cousin up. Well, I was 8 inches taller than he was, so I didn't have a chance. So they paired him up with somebody else.
Is there anything they used to have involved in the carnival that's not here anymore?
There was shotguns. All the pellets have been emptied out of the shotgun cartridges. So they'd be firing shotguns off all around the town as they went around, and they wouldn't allow that nowadays. They would just be PC, wouldn't allow you to have dogs and shotguns and things going on. Saturday's the nonsense side.
Yeah.
Today is for the kids.
Yeah, this is for
everybody
the kids.
dressed up. It's a kids' day. You know, you put them in the front, and you see the kids that they're all
You'll
dressed
see them
up.
come in a minute, all dressed up. My daughter made the dresses this year.
They're starting from an early age. I mean, the kids in the prams get to go up on the little rides up at the fair. So that's introducing them to it, and they've got a bunch of candy floss to eat and sticky and this and that. Brilliant memories to start with. So they're always going to come back, and they go to school with their friends. And now there's only one junior school, but they're all together. They're thinking it and they're living it, and that's ingrained in them from an early age. An honour to be.
It's a good day out for everybody.
That's right. And everybody's of the same ilk, if you like.
Well, everybody's happy today.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, everybody.
The whole place is chuckled. I mean, it's absolutely ram-jam full.
They've all saved the money for a good
special day out.
3 or 4 days out.
Yeah.
You know, this is the big day of the year for Torrington.
People will book their holidays from work 12 months in advance. First Thursday in May and the Friday, obviously, they will have off, irrespective of when it falls.
Val, could you please explain what these lovely garments are? These
Yes, certainly. These are some of the garments which are held in the museum concerning Mayfair. This one, with all the frills on, was a May Queen in 1988. This is not the heralds of 1988.
This is a herald's costume.
That's a herald's costume.
What would the herald wearing this be doing on the fair?
Well, they walk up, I believe, and look after the Queen as she is presented to the mayor of the day. That's what they do.
Stand either side.
They stand either side, yes.
Mm.
It's a sort of a theme. They always go on a theme. Everybody's very thrilled to see them.
On the second day of Mayfair, it's the Round the Tree race. First, all the kids do their run, and then the grown-ups. Now, it's only 3 miles approximately, but it's very challenging because you've got to go all the way down and all the way up a very steep hill. Now, I decided to run this time, and I didn't do too badly. But here's me coming up the hill, and as you can see, I don't look so good. Nevertheless, I didn't do too badly. I was 14th in my category. On the third day of Mayfair in Torrington, it's the parade. For a small town, there are some pretty impressive floats. I hope you've enjoyed this little insight into the May Day celebrations of Britain. If you want to learn more about English folk customs, then check out this video about the old English pagan tradition of singing to the apple trees in order to get a good harvest. Don't forget to click subscribe and click the bell to get notifications of my new videos. You can learn all about ancient pagan religion, folk customs and history here on Survive the Jive. And if you really want to support the channel, then please become a patron for as little as $1 per video. All my patrons get special access to exclusive videos that no one else can see.